Niv Mizzet Parun versus Rhys the Redeemed. We have Search for Counter for turn 2, Exclude for turn 3, and Telling Time. Yeah, I don't see why we wouldn't keep this. We also have a land drop for every turn, so we'll just go in for our tapped Steam Vents off the Misty Rainforest. And then we can go for a Search for Counter on turn 2. Most likely get a turn 1 Rhys the Redeemed, a 1/1 Elf Warrior, and for 3 and tap you can throw out an Elf Warrior token, and then for 6 and tap you double the number of tokens that you have on the field. So we'll have to try and deal with Rhys's token army as best we can. I don't know if it's Elf Tribal or not. Okay, get there eventually. Steam Vents in tapped. And we'll just get on with our turn. We get into a wooded foothills, so see if we can keep from drawing too many lands with the Search for Counter. Our opponent is of course in the best colours for getting rid of enchantments. Niv Mizzet Parun is our commander, a 5/5 for 6 mana, a dragon wizard that can't be countered. It has flying. Whenever we draw a card it can deal 1 damage to something, and whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery we draw a card. Luminarch Ascension is actually going to be quite a threat because we can't necessarily get damage onto them all that quickly with us being in a Spellslinger deck. Always yield to the Search for Counter and see if we actually care about what's on top. I think I'll regret not drawing into that, so I am actually going to draw it, and we'll hold up Exclude or Telling Time. Depends entirely on what our opponent does, and I think they're actually going to get this Luminarch Ascension off. I think it needs 4 quest counters on it. It does. So it does need 4, doesn't it? Where does it say? Yeah, 4 or more quest counters on it. They can start throwing out angels if we're not careful. They're on a perfect curve so far, but that ruins that for them. They do get a tap land in. And they go for Sundering Growth on the Search for Counter. So we are on the Telling Time plan. At least we have our 3 red sources. And we do have a couple of blue in hand, obviously. So I imagine we're going to draw into another land within the next few turns, in which case we'll be able to go for a turn 6 Niv Mizzet Parun. And we'll go for Telling Time here and see if we can draw into anything decent. Vedalken Shackles is actually pretty good, I think. We can't go for it straight away, but we'll put that into our hand. We will put Reality Shift on top, and Spell Pierce can go onto the bottom. So we of course know what we're drawing into. We'll hold up Exclude or Reality Shift. We can't Vedalken Shackles because it's 2 to activate. We can take their Rhys the Redeemed from them though. We may just end up Reality Shifting that thing. We could always take an angel off them as well and block their angels with one of ours. Not the best plan, but it's the only thing we've got currently. Could do with a mana rock of some form and try and get out a Consecrated Sphinx. Okay, they're cracking their grasslands to get themselves another land. And they go for the nice new artwork on the temple garden. Garrick Wildspeaker isn't something we can do anything about. We'll see what they do here. If they throw out a beast, I think I'll probably just... Actually, well, they're not going to throw out a beast anyway, but actually in hindsight I think I would have kept the beast and stolen it with the shackles. So we'll get hit for 1 here. And I don't think we actually want to use the reality shift yet. I'm sure there'll be more threatening things to use it on. We get into our land, so now we can actually get into Niv Mizzet Parun next turn. We'll keep the shackles up, and that might dictate what they do next turn. They're going to get another counter on the Luminarch Ascension. And pretty much the only thing we can do about that is bounce it, and that will remove the counters from it, and then they've got to wait another 4 turns. If you're going to play Luminarch Ascension, you certainly want to play it on turn 4. Another tap land from our opponent. They're on 4 cards in hand and 4 manas up. And they effectively have 6 mana thanks to Garrick Wildspeaker. So they're going for something for 6 mana. Okay, Primal Vigor is not something I'd like to deal with, to be honest, but let's see, there's much we can do about it. We are not in the right colours to be dealing with enchantments. Just so happens that that's what our opponent is throwing out. We'll keep from taking any more damage from Rhys, and we can attempt to keep... We may untap... no, we don't want to untap that. What we would like to do is get down our commander, I think. Or we could just go for Consecrated Sphinx. Well, why don't we deal some damage to our opponent first to keep that Luminarch Ascension from doing anything to us. And then... if they're going to exile something, I think I'd rather it was our commander, because we can always cast it again. We need to tap for red. Red, red, and red. Yeah, so we kind of need an answer here. We can deal damage to Garrick if they have a swords or something like that. We currently have a couple of commanders under our control. Rhys wasn't doing anything for them, but the longer the game goes on, the more threatening it becomes. They get a couple of beasts here, thanks to the Primal Vigor. That won't gain us anything. This is like a group hug doubling season, but unfortunately it won't affect us in any way whatsoever. When it enters the battlefield, they're going to get 4 wolf tokens here. Wow, they're going to have a huge beast. So that is, yeah, I'm glad we took Rhys off them, because they could probably double all these tokens next turn. We want to see a board wipe here. We're going to have to go after Garrick, because I think they can, yeah, they can Overwhelming Stampede next turn. I think we have to keep hold of Rhys. Yeah, we'll just keep hold of it. We can chump block. And why don't we go after a wolf token? We can actually deal with their army quite well here, because we have Jace in hand, so we can bounce a token. If we go reality shift on this thing, that'll be another damage on a wolf. So we can deal with a wolf token. And then we can get into another island and we can Mind Sculptor. They'll be able to swing in and kill it. So I wonder if we just brainstorm actually. We might as well brainstorm if we're going to kill a beast. And we might as well do it with some card draw. Actually, we can just draw into a couple of islands. And then go 1 on that beast, 2 and 3. And that will of course kill that. And then I want to kill the Garrick. But that will, that's an issue actually. We're going to have to let them... I've just thought we can't kill Garrick and... Yeah, we'll encourage them to kill their own Garrick with an overwhelming stampede. That will mean a lot of damage coming across. But I don't want them to start going crazy with these angel tokens. And some of the damage will be coming across to Jace anyway. They'll have to send 2 creatures in at Jace to get past Rhys unless they give the creatures trample, which they're choosing not to. With the Garrick, they're just choosing to go for more beasts, so that's fine. They still have to go wide at Jace, which they will have no problem doing. Okay, hard casting a Genesis does much more work in the graveyard than it does on the field. At the beginning of your upkeep, if it's in your graveyard, you can pay 3 and return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. I think we want to consider stealing that Genesis now. We'll certainly block some of this damage. I'm guessing this is all... actually, we can keep our Jace alive the way that they've decided to attack. So we'll just decide to block that thing. They can deal 2 damage to Jace if they want to. We get to brainstorm again that way. And we will untap. And we get to deal a damage to something. Why don't we deal it to our opponent before we forget. That will keep them off Luminarch Ascension. And then I think it might be time for a Consecrated Sphinx. We have another island on top. We might have some other stuff too. Okay, well a Lightning Bolt isn't horrendous. We can shuffle away 2 islands with the Flooded Strand. So let's go 1, 2 and 3 onto Garrick. And they can stop getting the value out of that. And then I think we'll make the land drop for the turn before we forget. This is just going to be a basic island. Don't have any more dual sources in the deck. Our library's taking an age to load up tonight for some reason. Now we have 5 mana. I think it's just... Yeah, instead of Consecrated Sphinx, why don't we go Lightning Bolt? We'll try and just pepper our opponent as much as we can. So we'll go after this Manifest thing, just in case they can actually make use of that. And we can steal this thing. And then Fabricate can take us into Sol Ring, maybe? Kill that thing. And then we can Impulse as well. Torrential Gearhulk is tempting. In fact, why don't we go for a Mox? We can get rid of Exclude. I don't think we're going to be using Exclude this game. So we will exile Exclude, and then we can Impulse on our opponent's turn, I think. Yeah, so I think Jace is dead either way. We'll just apply pressure onto our opponent and we'll swing him. They can of course swing in and kill the Mind Sculptor, but they're going to have to sacrifice one of their tokens to do so. They'll probably just swing in with a couple of Wolves. I only have 2 cards left in hand now. Hornet Nest is a real pain. But luckily for us we can fly over it. Hornet Nest is whenever it is dealt damage, create that many 1/1 green insect creature tokens with flying and death touch. So hopefully they, in those colours, they shouldn't have a means of dealing damage to it themselves. And it can't swing in, so they're going at us, and then 2 at Jace, as you would expect. So we might as well just block the one coming in at us. Save ourselves a couple of damage. And what we could do is steal their Hornet Nest and use it as a rattlesnake effect that will stop them swinging in at us. That's something we could go for. And we'll just deal damage to our opponent. And we do get a turn and burn. So we could deal with the Hornet's Nest like that if we want to. That would have it lose all abilities. And Keranos as well. Keranos would be animated. So I think we put 1 in our hand and the rest on the bottom in any order. Yeah, that's fine. We're going to... I'll keep hold of it for now. And now then, do we want to... I'll deal damage to a wolf, I think. More likely to kill a wolf than we are the 3/3 beast. Haven't actually planned out what I want to do this turn yet. We have 3, right, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana. And turn and burn is 5, I think. So we could... Can we do this at instant speed? Yes, we can. So we can go for Keranos. And then we will turn and burn on our opponent's turn if we want to. We can hold up Dismiss as well. And then we're getting to the point where we want to Consecrated Sphinx as well. Okay, our opponent is going to allow it, so we will just swing in with Niv Mizzet. And we know that our opponent doesn't have any cards in hand, so they are in top deck mode, managing to keep them off those angel tokens. If they were able to just tap out for angels, they'd actually, as the board stands now, they would pay 2 mana for 2 4/4 flying angels. Soul's Attendant, I don't think is going to do it for them. We'll let that land. And then we will turn and burn the Hornet Nest, and we can just start swinging in like crazy next turn. And they will of course gain a life from the Soul's Attendant. We can ping both their commander and the Soul's Attendant next turn if we want to. In fact, we'll be able to ping one of them this turn. So let's go for a fused turn and burn on the Hornet Nest, and that deals 2 damage to any target, so we want to do both to the Hornet Nest. And one can go on the Soul Attendant, keep them from gaining any more life, and I think we've wrapped this game up. They of course don't get any insects from that damage because we removed all the abilities from it with turn. 3 damage can certainly go on the beast. And 1 damage on Rhys, and we're dealing with their board really well here now. It's exactly what this type of Izzet deck likes to do, is drag the game out for as long as possible until we just start getting into lots of value. We'll brainstorm, draw some more stuff, and that would have been 3 cards, which equals 3 damage. That probably would have gone on our opponent. They would have been down to 9, and then 4 with Niv Mizzet. They probably would have blocked these 2 with the wolves. And then next turn, most likely, going to see a win there. So good game to our opponent. That was an interesting Rhys the Redeemed deck. Had we not have been able to get out our commander and keep it out, I think they were just unlucky not getting into removal there, because we couldn't deal with their enchantments. Had we not have been able to stick Niv Mizzet, then we wouldn't have been able to keep them off their Luminarch Ascension. So all that would have taken is a Swords to Plowshares. I think we might have been seeing a different game there, but that's the way it goes sometimes. It's unlucky to our opponent, but luckily for us, Niv Mizzet Parun wins this time. So hope you all enjoyed that. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.